For me, having grown up on African literature, and for goodness sakes, I studied African literature intensively when I was in Uganda. And I was aware that between the 1950s and 60s, perhaps early 70s, there were hardly any women writers that were being published. The few that were, we hardly read them. And the history that was being written then was masculine. Okay. On top of that, oral histories, at least in Uganda, tended to be incredibly masculinist. And they were all about masculine action and how they built the kingdoms and how they shaped the culture, the economy, and all of that. And so feminine action was often missing. And that which existed was always distorted. So it only managed to get into visibility because it was horrendous,
Wow.
often. And so, of course, we women were reading those novels and we were seeing the gaps and the distortion and how we were absent in history. So it's not surprising that the minute we've picked up the pen to write, we are going back into history to fill in those gaps, But also remember, history is gendered. The way it's presented, it's gendered, of course, among other things like class or sexuality, but the way we saw history is not necessarily the way men who were writing novels at the time saw it. So it's very, very important for us, at least for me, to go back and correct. So there's a corrective agenda there. And for a long time, we were told, women are the custodians of African culture. And you're like, yeah, but you're miswriting it. You're misrepresenting it. So it's not surprising that we are going back there to say, look, before we launch into the present and the future, we need to validate ourselves in the past. We need to correct some of the things that have been miswritten, and then we can come to the present.